Hello everyone, this is the InStyle Knitting Studio. Today, we will knit a bolero together. A summer bolero for a girl, but it can also be made for an adult. This is the dress you saw in the photos at the beginning of the video. We knitted it in the last masterclass. For those who missed this masterclass and are interested, I will leave links for you under the video to all 3 parts of the masterclass on knitting this dress. Today, however, we will knit the bolero. It is very simple to knit. If you like it, let's start knitting. So what, friends? For this project, we will need yarn. I will be using Yarnart Violet Lurex. Here, in 50 grams there are 270 meters. A number 2 hook, scissors, and a needle, because we will stitch the bolero. A measuring tape and a notebook with a pen for calculations. Before we start knitting, we will take some measurements. Our bolero is very simple to knit. For this, we need to knit a regular rectangle. Therefore, we need to know what width to knit and what height our rectangle should be. Look, the width. The width of our rectangle is the width of the back. It is approximately shown here, from the beginning of the shoulder to the end of the shoulder. Back width, plus about 7 to 10 centimeters, so that the bolero drops a little. A little, probably, depending on the size, on the age. I don't know, 7 to 10 centimeters approximately. So, I measured the width of my child's back. It is 28 centimeters, and I added 7 centimeters. As a result, my panel width will be 35 centimeters. I measured the width of the back on the child, but I think you can measure it on a dress or top that fits well on the child. By the way, the bolero can also be knitted for an adult. So, well, basically, only the sizes will be different. Therefore, the width of my back turned out to be 28 centimeters plus 7 centimeters. I added, and in the end, the width of my piece will be . So here is our rectangle. We will knit and fold it in half. That is, our height will be halved. It will be half less. So what do we do? To calculate the height we need to knit, we measure the circumference of the arm at its widest point. From the armpit like this. So, the circumference of the arm. I got 19-20 centimeters. I have a 4-year-old daughter. So, 19-20 centimeters, we add about 10 centimeters to this circumference. It can be less. I will probably add 9, in the end I have. The height of my piece will be 28 centimeters. That is, 19 plus 9 centimeters will be my circumference. The height is 28 centimeters. So the width is 35. The height is 28, and we will consider that there will still be some finishing. A couple of centimeters will also be added at the bottom and on the sleeves. Alright friends, these are the main calculations we need. Having done them, we will knit a regular rectangle without problems. I will knit with Solomon's stitches, with Solomon's knots. I will knit from the bottom up. That is, I will cast on the width. Of course you can knit by casting on stitches here and like this. It depends on what pattern you have. My pattern looks better if knitted from the bottom up. Well friends, let's go knit. Before any knitting, we must knit a sample. This is to calculate the knitting density and determine how many stitches we need to cast on. If you are knitting Solomon stitches, Solomon knots like I am, we won't knit a sample. But if you are knitting some other pattern, then knit a sample. Check your knitting density. Here's a lesson for those who do not know how to calculate their knitting density. Next, you can start knitting once you have cast on the required number of stitches. Knit in your pattern. We will knit with Solomon stitches. Therefore, I won't knit a sample. We will start right with the chain, that is. My fabric will be 35 centimeters wide, so we will cast on the starting stitch. Next, we knit 2 chain stitches and a single crochet in the second stitch from the hook. After that, let's start knitting with Solomon stitches, friends. I will not explain how to knit these Solomon stitches, Solomon knots right now. I have a separate lesson available. Here's the link, go ahead and watch. Thus, having cast on the required number of stitches and reaching the width of our fabric, my width will be 35 centimeters. So, I will cast on a chain that is 35 centimeters wide. Next, I will move on to the second row and knit Solomon stitches upward. That is the beginning of the width. Then, I will knit up to the height I need for my fabric. It will be 28 centimeters. That's it, friends. I won't be demonstrating anything further now. That is, we already know how to knit these stitches. So let's knit the fabric of the size we need by ourselves. And then, we will meet. We will continue knitting, do the stitching, and so on. Well, that's it, friends. Let's start knitting. So, I ended up with such a rectangle. This is my width, and this is my height. As I mentioned, my width is 35, and the height is 28 centimeters. Now look at what we do next. If your pattern differs on the front and back sides, then the front side should be placed here. So we put it on top. This width, we position the rectangle this way and fold it in half. So this is our width, and the height becomes half of that. Yes, now we take the markers and connect these 2 edges. Well, this is for our convenience. We connected it, and also the second corner. Next, to knit the height, we will recall how we made our measurements. We measured the circumference of the hand at its widest point and added up to 10 centimeters. So yes, now look, we take the circumference of the hand at its widest point, which we measured, and add 1 or 2 centimeters to this circumference. If it's very large for an adult, then we might add about 3 centimeters. I will add about 1.5 centimeters since I have a children's size. My hand circumference, according to the measurements, came out to 19 to 20 centimeters. Yes, plus 1.5 centimeters. That will be approximately 21 centimeters. Yes, but since we folded the height in half, we need to divide this sum of 21 by 2. Yes, it turns out to be 10.5 centimeters. So I will measure down from this point 10 centimeters. Half a centimeter, and here I will connect these 2 parts with a marker. Well, you understand, right? Hand circumference plus 1 or 2 centimeters. And we divide that sum by 2. The number we got, we measure down from this point. And we mark it with a marker. I have about 10.5 centimeters. Yes. Now, we take the measuring tape. From the bottom, this edge here, right? From the top, we measure out 10.5 centimeters, and now I will connect it with a marker here. Well, we connected it. I did the same from the other side. So here we have about 3.5 centimeters left. Yes, and here our hand should pass freely, the hand. You can even try it on to see how well the hand fits, and if there is some extra space for it. That's it, you generally understand. we need to mark this circumference of the hand, plus 2 centimeters. Here, mark it with a marker. That is, we will be sewing this part, this distance right now. Well, I have already sewn one side to show how my seam looks, something like this. Now, I will show you how I sewed it. You can sew with a hook, making single crochet stitches, but I will be sewing with a needle. This side, yes, the wrong side is facing us from the top, and we will sew it. Take a needle with thread, the same thread that we used to knit the bolero, and a knot at the end, yes, in one strand. I will sew it now. I will remove the marker and show you, so look. We insert the needle into the corner of one piece, and the corner of the second. Pull the thread and insert it again into both pieces. Yes, I have. Here are the tails. They interfere with showing the second time we inserted it. That is, we insert the needle away from us through both pieces. Here is my loop, and here, well, that is, we make a knot. Fix the beginning of our thread until we made a knot. That's it. After that, I will try to show you how I sewed it. You can sew however you like, whatever you prefer. But now I will show you how I did it. How I liked it the most. Look, this is our first arch. Yes, I will constantly insert the needle away from me. Always insert it away from me through both pieces. Here is our first arch. I take my first fabric. Yes, I pin at the top, not in the arch itself. And look, I'm taking the upper loop. That is, here are 2 threads. Yes, I have 1 thread under the needle. I do the same with the second fabric. That is, I leave 1 thread at the bottom, and 2 at the top. So at the top, we have a kind of loop, and I pull the thread. My tails, I will hide them later, pulled through. I also do it a second time. Away from myself next, look, we have this arch. I insert my needle into the center, into the central knot, into one, and the second one as well. Away from myself with the needle, 1 knot of the first arch, and into the second. We check the tension, so our seam does not tighten. Then we have the same arch going forward. Already a next loop? Yes, the same thing goes on. I place the needle so that I have 2 threads on top, 1 on the bottom and 1 fabric, and in the second one too. I take the constant needle away from myself and again into the same spot. All this forms our first arch, so it was sewn. You can see that there are 2 threads here, which remain ungripped. I like it better this way. Next, we have finished the arch. We make a knot here, that is a connection. We insert the needle here, and the other fabric too. Is tightened this way, and we immediately check the tension. When I finished 1 arch, I go into this knot. You see, this will lead to our next arch. Yes, into this knot between the arches. I insert the needle 2 times and secure everything with a knot. Here, I inserted the needle 2 times, as if I secured it, and it's good. You can tie a knot here as well, but that's my obsession. In principle, you can skip doing it this way. So here is our seam. Here are the loops we have left, the threads we did not catch in the arch. Next follows our next arch. I do not know if my explanation is clear to you. Look here, the next arch. Yes, this one is the same. I am guiding the needle away from myself. Also in the first fabric there are 2 threads on top and 1 below. Yes, and in the second fabric the same, 2 threads on top to lie on the needle, and the third under the needle. This is how I insert the needle once, and then a second time. Then in the arch we have a little knot. Through this knot, 1 and 2, we pull the thread. Immediately we check the tension, next comes the second one. Halfway through the arch, we also check to have 2 threads on top and 1 below. We pass through this 2 times, and then comes the end of our arch. Here we connect. I insert the needle. Twice and tie a little knot here. Once, a second time, and the knot, for example, yes, for securing right away, we pulled it tight correctly. Everything is fixed, it will not go anywhere now. This is how it turns out, friends, for us. For one arch here, up to that central knot, we will insert the needle 2 times, looking for the necessary loops to the knot once, then again 2 times. After that, we finish the arch. I secure it here with an additional knot. This is how, friends, I stitch. I do not know if it is clear to you or not, but I explained as I could. Here is a pretty good seam. They are not very noticeable, that's basically it. Let's finish this and turn our bolero to the right side. We will turn it, and it is now on the right side. We will hide all the threads later, all the ends. Here are the seams that turned out. After this, there's just a little bit left. We need to crochet the sleeves around like this in this fabric. In a circle with double crochets. Look at how double crochets are worked. I won't show that now. Here's the first row of double crochets. Yes, I will work into each loop. Let's say 4 double crochets. Then 1 double crochet is a connection right here. Then again 4 double crochets. Again 1 for connection, likewise here. That is, into the loop 4 double crochets. I will now finish all the edges, and I will tell you how many centimeters I have. This is what my width turned out to be, but that's it. Friends, I have finished. I crocheted 3 rows of double crochets for the sleeves. I completed the edging, and here we have such a funny bolero. When you lay it out like this, but when you put it on, I really like it. It looks delicate. In general, 3 rows of double crochets, and about 2 centimeters approximately. It could have been 2 rows of double crochets, but I liked it better this way, 3 threads. I have already hidden all the ends. So I have a finished bolero. Well, that's it, friends. I think you've got it. Because this is a very simple model. There are already many such models on the internet that are knitted from a rectangle. Well, here is my version made of Solomon's knots. I will be wrapping this up. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for subscribing. Stay with us on the channel. And always stay stylish. See you soon. Bye bye.